Hello and welcome to my very first podcast. Today we are discussing a solution to deforestation, reusable notebooks. The reason behind this podcast is most people have never even heard of reusable notebooks. They are a great option to note-taking, and they're also better than most other options for the environment. To make it a little easier, I will be referring to one certain reusable notebook, namely the Rocketbook Everlast. And with that out of the way, I will begin with the structure of this podcast. I will start off with explaining the product in detail, and then move on to the pros, then the cons, and lastly draw a conclusion. Let's begin. The Rocketbook Everlast comes in two different sizes, executive and letter size. I will be referring to the executive size, since it's the most commonly purchased one. The size of it in centimeters is 15.24 times 22.35, and it comes in a variety of colors, such as midnight blue, night sky blue, light blue, atomic red, and infinity black. The pages are dotted and they are made out of plastic. In it, there's 36 of them, and it's bound with a thick plastic spiral. The cover page is made out of hard plastic. And now to the more interesting part. The notebook can only be used with a friction pen. I believe you might know what it is because they're pretty famous, but if you don't, it's a pen where the ink is erasable. A fantastic invention. And one of these friction pens are included, although it might be old and bad, so I would definitely recommend you buying some of your own. When a notebook is full, the scanning begins. You download their free app from either App Store or Google Play. It's completely free and it works like a charm. Let me tell you, the app is incredibly easy to use, and also the scanning is so. And the app is very aesthetically pleasing. On the bottom of each page, there's 7 different symbols. And these can be marked to identify a certain type of document. They can then be directed to various places, such as Google Drive, email, Evernote, OneNote, Slack, OneDrive, Dropbox, iMessage, Box, and iCloud. And I believe that's great, that the developers has taken time to make sure everybody has some kind of storage that they can store their scans in. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the erasing of the pages. It's really easy. The first time I did it, I was unsure of how much water and strength I needed to rub off the ink and make it vanish. To my surprise, it was incredibly easy. All you have to use is a dampened cloth and the ink will be removed instantly. There's no pressure, there's no rubbing, instantly. Some people might think this will take too much time. And I understand you, but let me tell you, it's not true. With some estimating, I would say you need 15 seconds in total for each page, drying and erasing included. This results in a process that takes about 9 to 10 minutes. That is absolutely nothing at all, especially considering you maximum have to do it once a week. And now, finally, what is the price of the Rocketbook Everlast? On Amazon, it costs $32, although the shipping to Sweden costs $18.65. This puts the total cost at $50.65. It's not cheap, but considering it's a reusable notebook that will last you for years, if not decades, so it might be a worthwhile investment. Now let's discuss why you should switch over to reusable notebooks. And as I just mentioned, it's an investment. It will save you money in the long run. Let's start with some numbers. The ink of the pen will have to be refilled every now and then. It is around 50 kroners for a pack of 3. And digging around in some forums, I could find that the refills last for about a semester or 2, although in my experience they don't last that long. They last for about a couple of months, maybe 2 to 3. Then there's also the initial cost of the actual notebook and the 2 extra friction pens I recommend you buying. So I would say for the first year you're spending around 500 kroners, although the next coming years you only have to buy the refill of the ink. And I would say plan on spending 100 kroners each year, then you will be way above and definitely sure. If I compare this to my previous purchases of school material, I believe I make a profit already after the 2nd or 3rd year, which is amazing. I know for a fact that there will be people now comparing the Rocketbook Everlast to a computer, and with all rights. A computer is good at a lot of stuff, one of them being note-taking. Although, I want to prove to you that the Everlast is still superior. Firstly, some individuals still prefer writing on paper compared to computer, although this is just a preference. Here are some facts. In an article by Brian Goodwin, The Magic of Writing Stuff Down, Is the Pen Mightier than the Laptop? He explains that note-taking by hand often makes the writer more engaged and therefore more likely to remember the critical information. Considering this, why would you ever use a computer taking notes? Here's another big reason to use a notebook. You can graph, sketch, and draw in it. And in the article, getting students partially involved in note-taking using graphic organizers. Andrew D. Karayama and Daniel H. Robinson explains that sketching and drawing pictures is one of the most effective ways of remembering. And a majority of us are visual learners. I hope you've realized how important it is taking notes by hand and not using the computer. Continuing to our next pro. Using the Rocketbook Everlast, you will have an incredibly easy access to all of your notes wherever you are. Since all of your notes are stored digitally, you can access them with any electronic device. But not only that, it's way easier sharing your notes with your peers or mentors. For example, you can direct a symbol to a folder called Math Notes, shared with all of your classmates. And then simply by crossing this symbol on the page and scanning it in, it is immediately shared with all of your peers. Also, all of your unnecessary paper is gone too. This will save you a lot of time not needing to organize them anymore. Now, to one of my favorite pros. The Rocketbook Everlast is modern and stylish. The first days I was using it, everyone was interested. It shows you're professional and care about your material. You'll get tons of compliments. Trust me on this one. And now, to the absolute biggest pro of the Rocketbook Everlast. Its sustainability. It's a reusable notebook. This prevents you from buying notebooks and wasting paper year in and year out, which leads to a decrease in deforestation. And let me tell you, deforestation is bad. Some of the consequences of deforestation includes soil erosion, which can lead to mudslides, huge problems for farmers, and the loss of reliable electricity sources. Water cycle disruption, and this causes the land to get incredibly dry, and at times desertification. This increases the risk of fire and also might cause plants and animals to disappear. Greenhouse gas emission. Sciencing, a reliable website, estimates the percentage of greenhouse gas emission from deforestation at around 30% of the total greenhouse gas emissions. And biodiversity losses. The effects of this can be detrimental. For example, if a species goes extinct, it could have been the main food source of a predator, which will affect the predator to either adapt or also go extinct. And this will lead to a huge disruption in the food chain. And as a little bonus pro, the Rocketbook company is amazing. They continuously improve their products and their app. They answer customer reviews and constructive feedback. If ever something is sent wrong, they immediately supply with a new product. The Rocketbook is an example of an incredible company. To make this fair, I will now be discussing the cons of the Rocketbook Everlast. The biggest one being that it's a huge liability. You need a phone for scanning the pages, preferably a computer or another electronic device to actually get access to the files and the notes you've written. You need friction pen. Normal pens don't work. You need to refill the friction pens. And you need to clean the Rocketbook Everlast every week. For the Rocketbook to be used to its fullest potential, you have to bring this stuff with you. It can of course be brought without most of it, but the fact that you need all of this stuff is a huge liability. The ratings on Amazon though are very good. It is rated on average of 4.1 out of 5, and the comments are somewhat trusted based on several factors, and this has been measured by the software review meta. There are reviews though that bring up some very important issues, the main one being smudging. Smudging happens when you don't let the ink rest for 15 seconds by trying to erase it or touch it before it has completely dried. This can especially be a huge problem for leftists, and I've seen a lot of them complaining in the reviews. Another issue that was brought up a couple of times was that the cover was destroyed after a while, and this was something everyone complained about. Although since then, Rocketbook has updated their cover and it's now made of hard plastic and way more sustainable and durable. And they even offer the people giving them constructive feedback a new one to replace it. Lastly, an issue that I discovered myself, and I didn't find that many people talking about in the reviews. When writing too hard with the pen on the Rocketbook, there will be permanent damage. Although this is not a huge issue since you really have to be writing super hard and kind of recklessly. We'll come to the last con or negative thing about the Rocketbook. This is a big one though. What is actually special about the Rocketbook? As a reviewer puts it, the magic here really is in the pens. The friction pens are erasable. This is nothing Rocketbook did. Also, the possibility of scanning notes and uploading them to the internet and different storages is free and easy. Nothing Rocketbook did either. The only real improvement of the book are the plastic pages of the Rocketbook. And is it really worth spending that much money for a bunch of reusable pages? In my honest personal opinion, I think so. I think the Rocketbook is very cool and the pros definitely outweighs the cons. And finally, the conclusion. In my opinion, there's really only one reason why you would want to buy the Rocketbook. It's exactly like the Apple products. You want to be a pioneer. You want to have the most modern stuff, the coolest, the most futuristic, the most aesthetically pleasing, and you believe in the cause that Rocketbook stands for. You believe in saving the environment, and you believe in a decrease of deforestation. Stop wasting the world's resources and destroying the environment. Stop wasting your money and buying notebooks year in, year out. Join me and so many others and buy the Rocketbook Everlast.